Good morning. I'm Lynn Broaddus,
And I'm Marc Gorelick.
and we are joining you here from our home in Minneapolis, and it's great to be here with you this morning. We want to share with you a little bit about how we think about giving to our church. And, it's been an evolution for us. We've been members of UUCW for 22 years now, almost 22 years. And before that, we were members of a church in Wilmington, Delaware for 7 years. And now we are also members of a church in Minneapolis, where we have lived for the last 5 years. But, for us, it's been an evolution. I remember very well when the first time we were approached about giving in a serious way, and we were young. Our kids were still both in daycare. We were barely making ends meet between the costs of daycare and commuting and a mortgage that was kind of a stretch for us, paying off student loans, all the things that people in our age group at the time were dealing with. And we were approached by our church at the time to give at a level that really kind of astounded us. Now that we look back at it, it wasn't much at all, but to give at even a 1% of our income level just seemed like such a stretch to us. But we realized that we needed to step up to the plate. Who else was going to do it? So we did the best that we could, but it certainly wasn't as much as maybe some had hoped. But as the years went by, each year we tried to give a little bit more, and certainly our church became, and UUCW in particular, became more important to us and to our family. But I think a real change and shift for us came probably about 15 years ago, when we really started to think about our giving as one of our spiritual practices. It's not just something that we think about after all the other money that we spent and what's left over and what can we give to the church. Instead, we put it first and foremost in as we're thinking about our money and what our needs are. Our church is, and these days our church are really, really important to us. So we budget for that up front, and we think about it as a fundamental part of our giving. And we don't think about it as something that is being extracted from us. We really try to think about what will feel good to us, what feels like is a meaningful contribution, that if our friends and family looked at us in our situation, they would say, yeah, that feels good to them as well. So that's kind of how we think about it overall. And
So we moved here 5 years ago, actually 5 years ago today.
oh,
When we moved here, we
Yeah.
realized we wanted to find a community and a spiritual home here. But of course, UUCW was still our community and our spiritual home. We did eventually settle on a church here, and we've subsequently joined. But as we thought about UUCW, we really weren't thinking about, we weren't attending services there, and certainly when we first moved here, virtual services weren't a thing. But it still had a special place for us. It was a place where our kids grew up. It was a place that we grew up. It was a place that welcomed us when we first moved to Milwaukee. But we sort of thought about, we don't give to the church because of what we get from it. We give to the church because of what the church does. And it certainly does things for us, but it does things for the community. And I sort of think about what hole would be left in the Milwaukee community if UUCW weren't there. And it would be a huge hole. UUCW plays such an important part, first of all, in providing a spiritual home for people like us, standing up for Black Lives Matter, for LGBTQ people, for all kinds of causes that we believe in, and it is a community asset. It's a resource for that community, and we feel like we should continue to support it because it was important to our existence. I think it's important to the existence of a community that we still care very much about. And so we have continued to be members and supporting members of UUCW.
And I will say that, of course, we also have a lot of really good friends still at
Yes,
UUCW.
we certainly do.
So
we miss
you.
And we miss you all.
But yeah, so when we make our pledge, we're not just making our pledge to the church. I mean, we are the church. Collectively, we are the church. We are making our pledge to you. And as you make your pledge, you're making it to everybody else and to us. And so we ask that you really, think about that in a deep way, and as you think about this year and years to come. And I will mention one resource that was really important to us years ago and continues to be a touchstone. You might go to a website, bouldergiving.org, and they have some interesting sort of materials that can help you think about that if that's something you'd like to contemplate. And I guess the last thing I'll add is that we made our pledge today,
Right.
which is Thursday that we're recording this. And we went to Realm, we logged into Realm. And it is so easy. This was the easiest pledging we ever did. So guys, just go to Realm and make your pledge today. Thank you so much.